So in lab number 7, we're going to be looking at georeferencing using arcmap and the georeferencing tool. The main idea behind this is that we're going to use a base map, a topographic map, and an image that was made in a community map to georeference these different maps to our geographic datums and projections. A lot of times when dealing with data in ArcMap, it's not georeferenced, so we have to georeference it. This is especially true with data pre-1995. So if you look at the PCL library map collection, which is a very excellent source for digital maps, you can see that these maps were actually, like you see, we're going to check out Texas for example. These maps were maps that were scanned in from historic maps or different kinds of maps, and a lot of times they don't have georeferenced information. So if I look at like historical maps for example, and look at, well, it's not a good example, and look at stuff like maybe this atlas here, this map here is geographic information that can be very helpful, very useful, but the problem is that it's not in a form that we can use in GIS. But once it's in a digital form like this, like it's been scanned, we can use the coordinates on the map to georeference these maps. And once we have them georeferenced, we can do things like digitize outlines and borders and other kinds of stuff. So in today's lab, we're going to be georeferencing a topographic map from the Caribbean, and also we're going to be using a shapefile to verify that we georeferenced it correctly. Once we georeference it, we're going to use that map as our base map to georeference a hand-drawn map that was done in the Caribbean. Just a quick overview on the georeferencing toolbar. Just Google georeferencing ArcGIS, and I got this little tutorial, but it kind of gives you a good idea, overview about georeferencing. The georeferencing toolbar, it's a bar in ArcMap that we bring up just like editor toolbar or any other toolbar. Once it's brought up, we can make target layers and use that target layer to add control points. And the whole idea with georeferencing is that you add control points, points that you know the location. Whenever you put those points in, after you can check your error by looking at the link table. But once you put those points in, ArcMap will do an auto adjust and stretch and change and rubber sheet that image to the ArcGIS, making a GeoTIFF or GeoJPEG or what have you. And these images, this georeferencing toolbar works exclusively with the raster data sets, so things that you scan in, JPEGs, images, stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just launch up my ArcMap. I already downloaded all the data from the course Blackboard website, so go check that out. And you need to download the Caribbean zip file, the Laguna Topos JPEG, and the Laguna Atlas JPEG. Once you get those 3 files, you're ready to go. So I'm just going to prep my ArcMap document. So I got this, a new empty map. I'm going to go ahead and click on my add data. And like I told you, I already downloaded all this information, so I'm going to go ahead and add in my shapefile and my Laguna Topo and my Laguna Atlas. So I'm going to add in those 3 files. So one thing that's going to always ask you when you add in a raw raster file that's never been used in ArcMap is, do you want to build a pyramid file? And pyramids files are pretty much helper files that help ArcMap process the image faster, so then you can have a quicker refresh rate. So let's see if I can find a nice tutorial. So yeah, it just it makes a bunch of different resolution images, and it improves the performance because after it doesn't have to recalculate continuously your pyramid, your refresh JPEG. It just brings stuff out of that pyramid file. So I personally like to always build pyramid files. So I'm going to say yes, and then it's going to do the little process making it, and you can see it here, build pyramid, and you can see the progress bar going. And it might ask me that again for the next one. No, it just went ahead and built it. Okay, here's the next one. It's going to ask me, do I want to build it for Laguna Atlas? I'm going to say yes, and it's going to build that one too. So the first thing that you should notice whenever working with rasters that have never been used in GIS is that you can get this unknown spatial reference. This is okay. This just means that the images are not geo-referenced. So it's telling us now that Laguna Topo and Laguna Atlas are not geo-referenced, and pretty much we are going to need to geo-reference them. The third one that we added, which was the Caribbean shapefile, that one we don't, the Caribbean shapefile, that one we don't have to worry about because it is geo-referenced. That's why it's not showing up in this error message. So you can see here we have our topo map, and then we can go here to Caribbean and zoom the layer, and we can actually see this Caribbean is working. So one thing that I noticed right off the bat is that my scale here is blank. That means that I'm working with unprojected data, and that could mean that this data here is not projected, or that our arcmap document doesn't have a projection defined. So we're going to check that out by going to layer and layer properties, and we can see here that it's right now working this unknown projection. If we check out layers here, the Caribbean shapefile has a projection. This Laguna, Topo, and Atlas do not have projection. So right now it's pulling this unknown from them. We want to just go ahead and actually, since this has its projection, that's good. So we use projection on the fly. But we're going to want to work today in NAD 27 UTM zone 16. So I'm going to click on predefined, projected, UTM, NAD 27, UTM zone number 16. So I hit OK, and I go ahead and zoom to layer here, and I'll see that everything now is projected. I have my scale bar, everything's looking good. But we don't have the topo map, and the reason why is because the topo map is off in the middle at the origin, just hanging out there, because it doesn't have projection information. So if I zoom to layer, you can see that's just there with not knowing, the computer does not know where to put it. So that's the reason why we need to georeference it. So to georeference it, we need to start up our Geo Referencing Toolbar. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to turn off my layout toolbar, I don't need that. And I'm going to go and right click. If you right click here, you can bring up this toolbar menu. If you can also do this by doing view and toolbars. View toolbars will also let you have that same menu. So I'm going to choose georeferencing, and it brings up my georeferencing toolbar. I'm going to dock my bar on the screen, so this way I can always find it and find the way. And I can see here, this is the tools for my georeferencing toolbar. So from this now, I'm ready to start georeferencing. In the next video, we'll start looking at, in the next two videos, we'll look at two different ways of georeferencing. One way is by entering control points that we know the geographic location on. So we actually input in X, Y, or degrees, minute, second points into it. And the other one is georeferencing based off of other, on a base layer. So we actually look at what visually looks the same and choose those as control points. I'm just going to go ahead and save this ArcMap document, and I'll see you in the next videos.